Welcome, friends, to your yoga class today. Today, we're going to be focusing on spirals, spiraling of your bones, your limbs, and then also the spirals that we can find in our spine. And so, when we are doing twisting poses, those can be viewed as a spiral. If you're coming along with me and you'd like to include the Spotify playlist, you can go ahead and start that now. We're going to start our practice in a standing position, mountain pose. And I want you to feel into the bottoms of your feet, rooting down, and then lengthening the top of your head up. If you like, you can close your eyes and check in. Removing all distractions so you can be present in your practice today, honoring your body, listening to your body. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. We're going to start with one hand, and we're going to begin to spiral at the wrists. And your forearm bones also spiral around each other. You could go one way and then the other. And then bringing it into the shoulder, spiraling the arms, the elbow even, maybe a little bit. Creating the spiral. And then letting that arm rest, going to the other side. Thinking about things that spiral, the eddies of the water, snail shells. Finding that movement up into the shoulder, sensing your point of your elbow. And then shifting your body weight to the one leg. If you need to, you can always hold on to a chair and begin to spiral the ankle. Now, the lower leg bones don't really spiral around each other very much, but the hip and the thigh, maybe one direction, the other. And then let's bring that foot down, shifting to the other side, starting with your ankle. Breathing. Maybe finding a gaze point out in front of you or on the floor. And then bringing your awareness up. Into the hip. And then when you're ready, setting that back down, we're going to spiral around, almost as if you have like this energetic hula hoop. You could bring your hands to tap the body, nice and gentle. Looking behind you. Okay, we're going to bring it back to center. We're going to take our stance a little bit wider. And I want you to bring your hands onto your hips, and we're going to take the hips around and into a spiral, a circle. The spiraling of the hips uses abdominal core muscles all the way around. And noticing the direction that you're traveling, we're going to do the spiral the other way. You could move your head around, checking out your neck. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring it back to center. Feet come together, and we're going to do a little side bending, bringing one arm up and then the other arm up, touching your ribs. Staying curious. One more time each side. Other side. And then back to center. We're going to step to the front of our mat. If you have blocks, you might want to put them at the front of your mat. We're going to take the arms up and exhale back down through center. Let's do that 2 more times. The spiral, like wings, the arms. One more time. Shifting your body weight to your right foot. We're going to step the left foot back and into a high lunge. Finding your balance here. Your feet are parallel. See if you can keep the heel up off the ground. Stacking your shoulders right over your hips. We're going to bring our arms up. Relax your shoulders down. If you like, you could interlace the fingers and reach up towards the sky. Find something to look at. Balance. Take a deep breath in. Let's release those hands. We're going to bring the hands down, but we're going to walk them over to the side. So the left side. So your right foot is in the front, and so the left side, left corner. And this is like a little side bend, reach. It's a stretch. Take some deep breaths in. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring the hands back to center and step that front leg back. Coming into downward facing dog. You could come into turbo dog by bending your knees. This is a version of downward dog with actual bent knees. And then you could come forward here and into plank position. Maybe walking your feet back. Holding it here. We're going to take our knees down, and then we're going to lower ourselves. Now you could come into the 8-limbed pose where you keep your hips up off the ground and you put your chin and your chest down. So lowering my elbows down, my chin and my chest come down, my hips stay up, and then as they come down, I come forward and into baby cobra. Option to always come into Sphinx. Take a deep breath in. Let's press back and into child's pose. Extending your arms. Now from child's pose, we could do thread the needle. So taking the right arm underneath your left armpit, spiraling a little bit. See if you can get your shoulder down. You could take your other arm out, fingertips to the mat. This doesn't feel good to you, you can always just stay in child's pose or come into thread the needle on all fours. Take a deep breath in. Let's release that. We're going to do the other side. Arm comes under. Rotating your chest open. Look underneath your armpits. Breathe deeply. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it back to center. We're going to come onto our hands, curl our toes under, come into a little squat pose on the balls of our feet. Sensing your spine, we're going to press up and into standing. We're going to step to the front of the mat and do that all on the other side. So 3 breaths here. 2. 1 more. Shifting your weight over to the left foot, the right foot. The left foot gets to step back. Nope, right foot gets to step back this time. Okay, staying up nice and high, finding your balance. Arms, shoulders down, away from your ears. You could interlace your fingers and maybe interlace them the different way so that different index finger is on top. Feels very strange. Straightening your arms, relaxing your shoulders down. Finding a gaze point, breathing. Releasing your hands. We're going to bring it forward. And remember, we're going to walk up to the right side of the mat this time. Little side bend. You're up on your fingertips. If this doesn't feel good, you can always just stay with one hand on each side of the foot. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it back to center. We're going to step that front leg back into our downward facing dog. And then coming into turbo dog. Knees are bent, tailbone is long, low back is straight. Coming forward into our plank position. You can decide if you want to do the 8-limbed version or if you want to just come down and into Sphinx. Knees drop. I'm going to bring my chest and chin down. And then I'm going to straighten my body and come into Cobra, tops of the feet on the mat. Take a deep breath in. Let's come back and into our child's pose. This time, let's bring our hands above our head. You could interlace your fingers, index finger up towards the sky. Take some deep breaths here. Take a deep breath in. We're going to sit up. We're going to interlace our hands back behind our body. Maybe straightening the arms, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Keep a tuck in your tail. You could look gently up to the sky, feeling an opening in the front of your chest. Take a deep breath in. Let's release that. We're going to bring our hands down, curl your toes, sit back onto the balls of your feet. You could try balancing here, bringing your hands up, parallel, find something to look at on the floor, and then pressing to rise. Stepping to the front of your mat. We're going to shift our body weight over to the right foot. The left foot is going to step back and into our warrior 2 pose. Going to line up my front heel with my back instep. Turn that back foot in a little bit. And I'm going to bring my arms out first, finding something to gaze at. This front arm is going to come towards my heart. I'm going to hold it there. You could just wrap your hands around and hug. Or you could spiral your forearms, eagle arms. So you can decide which version feels best in your body. You could lift your elbows and maybe press forward. And the goal here is to really feel an opening in the back body. Taking a deep breath in, let's unwind the arms, bring them back here. And then we're going to turn and we're going to come down into our high lunge. And we're going to rotate towards that front leg. So we're going to do a little spinal twist. Plant your hand to the inside of your foot. rotating open, keeping that leg tucked towards your chest, towards your belly. Spinal twist. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring the hand back down. Let's step that front leg back, downward facing dog. Coming forward and into plank position, holding here for a couple of breaths. Now, we're going to actually feel some spiraling in our core of our body. We're going to keep our hands planted, but we're going to start to take our hips to the side. One side just rotating on the balls of your feet. If you like, you could bring your feet together and stack the feet as they come over. So this is a beginning of side plank where you would balance on one arm. But in this particular instance, we're just feeling the twisting motion in the core of the body. Breathe. Okay, bring it back to center. Drop it to your knees. Come back and into your child's pose. If you like, this one can be arms behind. Take some deep breaths. Sitting up nice and straight. Walking your hands back out, downward facing dog. We're going to take the right leg up into the sky, and we're going to step it through between the hands. The other foot comes and follows. We come into our forward fold. Let the top of your head turn towards the ground. Tucking the tail, you can roll up or come up with a straight back. Okay, we're all going to do all of that on the other side. So stepping the right foot back, warrior. Breathe. That front arm, remember, can come towards the heart. You could just wrap your arms around your body, or you can spiral the forearms, eagle arms. Could lift the elbows, press them forward. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it back out. We're going to turn and come down and rotate towards that front leg, planting the hand. Strong arm up into the sky. Bringing it back down. We're going to step that front foot back, downward facing dog. Coming into our plank position, we're going to do one more set of those twisting. If that doesn't feel good to you, you could always come to your knees and maybe go side to side, but be very gentle of your kneecaps. Feet can be a little bit apart or together. You could stack your feet or just keep them staggered, coming onto the edge of the feet. Shaking sometimes happens here. Breathing nice and slow. One more time over. Bring it back to center. Drop your knees. Come back and into child's pose. Maybe your favorite version. We've done 3 today. 3 different child's poses. Slow your heart rate back down. Now sitting up nice and straight, we're going to walk our hands out, coming into downward facing dog. We're going to take the left foot up into the sky, and we're going to come into pigeon. So we're going to bring our knee forward between our hands, and you could scoot yourself back. The other option instead of pigeon is deer pose, where you bring your hip over and you just sit with the hip down and 1 foot in, 1 foot front, 1 foot back. So you decide here. Breathing, we're going to come forward. We're going to bring our hands down to the floor, palms down. You could rest your forehead on your hands. I like to gently rock side to side to open up the side of the hip, the side of that front leg. Now we're going to come over and onto the hip. And then that back leg is going to come around. And this is actually our pose of the day. So I'm just going to scoot so I can show you. So can you get your legs to spiral? We're kind of coming at the thighs, spiraling around each other. This is Gomukhasana, or cow's face. And we're going to sit up nice and straight. The option for this is to bring this be my right arm. I'm going to bring my right arm up, and I'm going to grab onto my elbow, and I'm going to sit up so nice and straight. If you're like this, you're all hunched over, then don't do that. Just maybe keep your hands here, right? You don't have to do this. So just sitting up nice and straight. Gomukhasana is the pose of the day. Breathe. Spirals. Okay, let's release that. And we're going to think about coming out the same way we came in. So that top leg is going to come back and around, and you're going to come back and into your pigeon pose right here. We're going to curl that back toe, step back and into your downward dog. And we're going to do the other side. And so this time the right leg, or the left leg steps forward or lifts up, and then you're going to bring the knee in. Actually, nope, it would be the right foot. I'm backwards today, right foot. We're going to bring that knee in. Whichever, I can't remember. Sitting up nice and tall. Take a deep breath in and slowly come forward. Hands down, palms down, forehead to the tops of your hands, and feel into that. You could gently sway side to side. And then when you're ready, falling over onto that hip, the leg comes around. The top leg, the same arm as the top leg, you could reach it up, placing the hand on the back of your shoulders, and then sitting up nice and straight. Pose of the day. This is cow's face pose, Gomukhasana. Take a deep breath in. Let's release the pose, coming out the same way we came in. The leg comes back. We bring our hands underneath our shoulders. We step back and into our downward facing dog. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves to our knees. We're going to find our way onto our back body. You could take your feet wide on the mat and just gently bring them side to side. Notice how your low back feels. And we're going to do a spinal twist, but it's going to be a little bit different than we've been doing in class. We're going to bring the knees up to the chest and see if you can draw them in without using your hands. So this is the strength of your hip flexor muscles, drawing the knees in and then wrapping your hands around. And then just notice how much more you can draw your knees in if you use your hands. Okay, so let's release that, and we're going to bring our hands out and we're going to bring them palms down. And I want you to really root down. I think of, whenever I do this pose, I think of strawberry plants, and that they have these, each stem that comes out has these little rootlets. So rooting down through your arms and your shoulders. We're going to keep everything down, but we're going to let those knees come over together. They're hooked together, and they're going to come down to one side. And we're going to look the other way. And you might not be able to bring them down all the way, but you could lift your shoulder a little bit and then press that shoulder back down. So you might be able to get your knees to the floor and looking the other direction. Option here is to straighten the front leg, but only if the knees are down on the ground. So I can straighten, point my big toe, and touch it to the ground. Take some deep breaths here. You might notice it's more difficult to breathe when we're twisting in the mid-back, your rib cage. It's just more difficult to expand the ribs. Bringing the leg back in, we're gonna lift up, 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 up. Bring it back to center. Reestablish your connection between your shoulder blades and your arms, palms down, really rooting, and then slowly, slowly, slowly coming over. You could lift your shoulder up, but then see if you can place it back down. And if you have room, or if your legs are down, you can extend that top leg, big toe down. I'm just going to scoot over. Extending the top leg, maybe looking the other way. Okay, when you're ready, turning your head back to center, bringing your legs in, lifting them with your core strength up. Oh. We're going to bring our knees apart, and we're going to circle the knees together. You could attach your finger pads to the tops of your knees and just gently guide them around in a spiral. So this should feel kind of nice to your low back. If it doesn't feel good to your low back, you can just bring your knees to your chest, rock side to side. And then we're going to take the spiral the other way. Okay, bring your knees center. We're going to come into bridge pose. I'm going to show you how to do bridge pose with your hands clasped under your back body. So press your elbows down and then lift your chest up, and your shoulder blades are going to come together. We're going to lift the pelvis up and then bring your hands underneath. You could clasp your hands, and then you walk one arm under, the other arm under, and this is going to get you a little bit higher up into the sky. You could press your pelvis, make sure you don't wing out your knees, your legs stay parallel. Taking some deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, let's release this nice and slow, lowering your back body down. And it always feels really good to me to rock back and forth. So you could see if this feels good to your spine. Finding your way up and into boat pose. Just nice, easy boat pose. You could bring yourself down, feet together, cobbler's pose, sitting up nice and straight. From here, lengthening the spine up, rotating in one direction. You could bring your hand over to your thigh, looking over your shoulder, switching directions. And then bring it back to center. If there's anything else that you would like to do prior to final relaxation, now is the time. You could set yourself up. Finding a position where you can hold in stillness. Feeling the earth beneath and the sky above. The energy from the center of the earth rising up, cooling, circulating underneath the surface of the planet. Moving the plates that float on the surface of the planet. Staying connected to that energy below as we feel sky energy, the cycle of the water as it evaporates from the ocean, forming clouds, traveling to mountain tops, rising above, falling as rain, snow. Water hitting the ground, percolating, joining into rivulets, bigger streams, into rivers, and then finally back out and into the ocean, spiraling. Cycles of life. Our journey, this moment, this time, this place. The inhale, the exhale. blood traveling through circuits from heart to lungs to heart to body, back to heart. Staying here for as long as you can, as long as you desire. Namaste.